Welcome to Jurassic Park.
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
I'm just a fucked up girl who's looking for my own peace of mind.
Welcome to the party, pal.
I'll be back.
I'll have what she's having.
I'm gonna make him an offer again.
Here's looking at you, kid.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Hello, I'm your host Jim McLean. Welcome back to another episode of More Than Pixels on a Screen, a spoilerific movie review podcast brought to you by Banterflix, cinematic discussion with a Northern Irish accent. So it is. And joining me on this pod is the only man I know that gets angrier than Val Kilmer when someone says rodents are bats. It's Adam. If you don't kill him, he won't learn nothing, Neeson.
Kiss from a rose.
Adam, well, we should say from the get-go, so we are doing this little podcast. We're recording this on World Batman Day. It's not going to be going out on World Batman Day. We did toy with the idea of doing it as another little live video, but when you said, could I go blackface and do a performance as Seal, I said, no, Adam. I think it's better if we just pre-record this episode. And I don't know, do you think, Adam, that Tommy Lee Jones will sanction this buffoonery that we're about to partake as we talk about the beloved cinematic classic that is Batman Forever?
Last night at the bank, I noticed something about Two-Face. His coin. It's his Achilles heel. It can be exploited.
I know. You called me here for this. The bat signal is not a beeper.
Well, I wish I could say that my interest in you was purely professional.
You're trying to get under my cape, Doctor?
A girl can't live by psychoses alone.
It's the car, right? Chicks love the car.
What is it about the wrong kind of man? In grade school, it was guys with earrings. College, motorcycles, leather jackets. Now, black rubber.
Try fireman, less to take off.
So in this episode, we're going to be talking about Joel Schumacher's Batman Forever, the third entry in the original Bat series, the first not directed by Tim Burton, although he is a producer, but it is a producer crediting pretty much just name. He was not interested in coming back for the third entry, and neither was Warner Brothers having him interested in having him back. Batman Returns was not the big box office success that they hoped. It's a beloved film. A lot of people consider it their favourite film within that those four original entries when the Batman films. We might come back to that, Tim. But not deemed by the studio what they wanted. I think famously, didn't McDonald's withdraw their Happy Meals? Their Happy Meal tie-in with the movie when they finally seen it and realised how dark and twisted it was. Very different from the first Batman film, 1989, which was holding a candle to what Frank Miller had done when his reinvention of the Caped Crusader. Now we come to Joel Schumacher. Now, this wanted to be was clearly trying to be a much more commercial success of a feature, big box office blockbuster. Various actors were considered for the role of Batman after Keaton stepped away. He was going to return, but just was not a fan of the script. And reading Adam, I was intrigued by this. One of the actors considered, did you know this, was Tom Hanks?
That would have been a strange choice. I can't even imagine, because he would have been too nice. Do you know what I mean? He would have just been punching bad guys and be like, sorry.
Don't talk to me about my mama. Jack Napier killed my mama. I kind of think I went a bit more Waterboy there. But Ethan Hawke as well was at one point considered as well for the role. Kind of they wanted to go for a younger actor. But here we have Batman Forever. We have the Caped Crusader. He's joined by everyone's favourite partner. I was going to think of something funny to say, but I couldn't be arsed. We have Chris O'Donnell as Robin, one of the Flying Graysons. We have the horniest woman I have ever seen on screen, Adam. Nicole Kidman's Dr. Chase Meridian. And do you know what the worst thing about this movie was? I clearly must have had a thing for Nicole in this movie, because I didn't even need to look up IMDb to remember her character's name. It was like, Nicole Kidman, yeah, she's Dr. Chase Meridian in this. She is, I am sorry, we're two lads, we're two silly boys, as we always say. She's the horniest woman I've ever seen on screen. Hornier than Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct.
Do you know when you grow up, if I've talked about this before in the podcast, do you know when you grow up and you see like a woman that could be 20, but because you're 8, you believe this woman is 50. There's no lineage. Nicole Kidman in this was always like, why is this older woman going after Batman? And then as I got older, eventually, Jim, I watched this and thought, what's happening?
Well, do you know what, actually, did you know this? Rene Russo was originally cast in the role. And then when Michael Keaton stepped away and they brought in Val Kilmer, they wanted a younger actress to play the role, so they brought in Nicole Kidman. I think there was a couple of other actors up for that role. We also have Jim Carrey as the Riddler. Famously, I think Robin Williams had pursued the role, was in discussions. He had felt a bit aggrieved by the first Batman movie. He was at one point considered for the Joker, very much a bit of a kind of stunt to kind of ensure Jack Nicholson signed on to the role. He's there as the Riddler. And Billy D. Williams, wasn't it, in the first two? He's not back as Harvey Two-Face, but Tommy Lee Jones, the Oscar-winning Tommy Lee Jones, who I think had just picked up Oscar for The Fugitive, if I'm trying to think about my times around that kind of time period. He signed on, and we also have the likes of Drew Barrymore as well in a very small role, but very memorable for me as a young boy when I was like, Drew Barrymore, what's happening? Even then, Adam. And so we're going to talk about Forever because it's World Batman Day. I think it sometimes gets a bit of an unfair kicking because it's put in with what came after with Batman and Robin, and compared to Batman and Batman Returns, and of course more recently the Nolan trilogy, and I guess even more recent to that, the kind of Snyder Batman or the Snyder Batman films, and well, the Justice League movies, and I guess more now the RPAT as RBAT, and so generally for you were very excited when I suggested this, because I literally just threw this out to you as we were finishing up the ramble. So are you a fan of Batman Forever?
Batman Forever, Jim, is the best Batman film ever made. I know people be like, that's not right, but you're wrong. It is correct.
You're entitled to your opinion, but you're wrong.
Yeah. And listening to Joel Schumacher talk about it, he was always like, this, I don't know if he had an accent, my Batman was the 60s Adam West Batman, and that's what I wanted to go for. And once you go in with that approach, you're like, yeah, I get it. It's Batman with a Art Deco Gothic Gotham that feels like a world that is just too big for anybody to live in. You've got Coolio as the Scarecrow. You've got Robin drying his clothes off with his feet. The return of Pat Hingle.
Do you do that often?
I do. And then my toes get all wrinkly. And Val Kilmer as Batman is pretty good. I think he's a pretty good Bruce Wayne. We'll get into the Snyder Cut in a bit, but you get a bit of the trauma that he's went through after the death of his parents more than you did with Burton's. And then this is sort of an influence on the Arkham series of games. I don't know how anybody likes those games that doesn't like this, because this opens up a world of what you wanted in Batman and what they haven't really given us since, where the villains can be a bit wacky. Jim Carrey as the Riddler is playing the Joker, and Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face is playing the Joker, and that's fine because they're being weird and they're both good actors doing what they need to do. Sure, it's campy. It's fucking Batman.
Although famously did not get on. Jim Carrey did not have a good time making Batman Forever, and I did that little line at the opening of the pod where he cannot sanction your buffoonery was a line that Tommy Lee Jones famously uttered to Carrey on set, and I'd like to think that Tommy Lee Jones has kind of kept that line going on through various years, like maybe when he was making, just because the movie you reference, U.S. Marshals, Robert Downey Jr., I cannot sanction your buffoonery, and maybe when he was making No Country for Old Men, just kind of to, just I cannot sanction your buffoonery, just as he kind of, that iconic final shot of No Country for Old Men, just imagine that line, all that stuff about having a dream about his dad and going off into the darkness, and the director just says, cut, and just says, I cannot sanction your buffoonery. I mean, it just works. I think Tommy Lee Jones, has Tommy Lee Jones got an autobiography out?
I hope he does, and I hope it's just a close-up picture of his wrinkled face.
His wrinkly, porridge-filled face, titled Tommy Lee Jones, I cannot sanction your buffoonery. That's Tommy, if you're listening. You heard it here from me. I have a lot of love for this. Now, one thing you didn't mention in all that kind of love for Batman Forever is the amount of queer subtext that's kind of going through, and all that kind of the undertones of S&M, leather. That's Joel Schumacher, openly gay director. Just whether I don't think he's ever really kind of talked about it as in he embraced it or knowingly put it there, but it's there. It's there, and a lot of people talk about the fact that we have Batman and Robin. They're constantly referring to themselves as partners, or won't you let me be your partner? The guilt that Val Kilmer, an older man, has over a similar death to Dick Grayson's parents in the circus sequence. Jim Carrey. There's not much else. I mean, I don't mean that in Jim Carrey in general, but his performance in this, in the fact, because I know it's very much been embraced by drag culture as well. Like, there's sequences I'd forgotten, having rewatched this movie, where he's just sitting there in the van, and he's just got a tiara on for no apparent reason. Why wouldn't you? And also just like the fact that like Tommy Lee Jones is very macho. I don't know if it's the right thing to say. He is quite effeminate as the Riddler. This is going to be me as a cis 40-year-old man. Let me look at getting the terms at him, but I don't know if it's right. But he's quite sissy-esque, and I that's probably not the right term. I apologise. I still need to kind of learn all things. But like the sequences when they're fighting, or we're in the bank job, and it's like, show me how to hit a guy, and it's like, Tommy, you extend your arm, do this, boof, knocks him out, and then Jim Carrey does the same thing and just hits his chin. It's like, oh, I don't know. He is very effeminate, and yeah, there's a lot of talk about Kilmer's Batman and the fact that he wants to reveal his secret to Chase Meridian, Dr. Chase, and she's always wanting to be like, Bruce, Batman, what's happening? She's like, gotta go fight some crime here. I think I see the bat signal. I don't say anything. Oh, I've seen the bat signal. It's up. Always run away from that. Yeah, and poor old Alfred. Actually, just because this is a rambly pod already, apologies, listeners. When I rewatch this film, I quite like the fact. So Michael, the only two returning from the first two films, I think we're in all four. So you have Michael Gough, and you've mentioned Pat Hingle, haven't you, as well?
Of course,
Pat Hingle,
my favourite.
Everyone's favourite mayor. But Michael Gough, in the final scene of this movie, when they're going to visit the Joker, they're going to visit the Riddler, and it's like, because he claims he knows who Batman is. And I know we're jumping about, and I know it's spoiling, but it's like Nicole Kidman's character, don't worry, Bruce, your secret's safe. So they start snogging, like properly snogging the bake of each other, and it just cuts to Michael Gough's little Alfred standing by the car, just a big grin on his face, going, go on, Bruce. Go on, Master Bruce, give a one from me over the bonnet. It's what your father would have wanted. I love Michael Gough's Alfred. And I do love Michael Caine's Alfred as well. But there's just something in my head. I think it's kind of way we talked about on the Spider-Man pods when we think of, if you asked me to draw, I'm not a very good artist, but if you asked me to draw Alfred, I'd probably draw you, well, it'll either be a mix. It'll either be Michael Gough, if I'm honest, or the Alfred from the Batman animated series. Probably a mix between those two. I mean, as much as I love Michael Caine, we haven't really seen a lot of Andy Serkis yet as Alfred. He's getting a bit of, he's much more of the kind of restylized Alfred with much more of the military background front and center. And, who is it in Snyder's? It's
Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons. I kind of like the voice, but again, not really given that much to do. But yeah, Michael Gough, Pat Hingle are back. So, Batman Forever, as we say, the third entry in the series. Batman Returns, a lot of people love it. You've put your cards saying that Batman Forever is your favourite Batman movie. Mm-hmm. Batman Forever, probably at the time, was my favourite Batman movie, because I would have been, 12 when this came out, 95. Peak kind of teenage boy, about to enter your teenage boy, or teenage years. Vividly remember going to see it in Bangor and just absolutely adoring it, and kind of wanting to get all the Happy Meal tie-ins and stuff. The poster with all of the characters in the front. I remember there was 2 posters when I was younger I was obsessed with. Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. I remember having on my wall. Just loved it, and I think it's the same thing. It's about faces in posters, because you have Kirk, Nimoy, DeFrost Kelly, and then you've got the Enterprise, and you've got the Bird of Prey in that. And then there was this, and it was one of those posters. Do you ever buy posters, and if they get a bit tattered, you'd go off and replace them? I think I bought that poster a couple of times, because it was a well worse in Oma, and they did posters. And I remember when I went to university, I brought that poster with me, and many a student had Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs. I had Batman Forever on the back of my dorm wall, and very proud of it. I think over the years, I'll not lie, other Batman movies, they kind of they're in flux. And I like a lot of people maybe kind of moved away from the Forever Batman and Robin stuff. That's a different pod for a different discussion. But I think, and I guess we'll come to this, we'll be talking about the Schumacher cut. So that's really kind of ramped up since his passing. And I know Kevin Smith has screened out a work print that's as close as what you're going to get to the Schumacher cut. We'll come to that, I guess. But yeah, I think it's fun. I like all the things you've mentioned, Adam. I love Gotham in this. It's very different from the Gotham we saw in Burton's Batman 1989. Very different from what we saw at Christmas time with Batman Returns in Burton's follow-up. This, I think there is a sequence where it's Halloween, so this is set around Halloween time. It's like Vegas on steroids. Like they have the Statue of Liberty. They've got, isn't it, the Ritz, the Gotham Ritz, all that stuff. It's just this height of decadence. Like there's this scene early on where Chase, after our first encounter at the Gotham Bank, the second bank, on the second anniversary of Tommy Lee Jones of Tommy Lee Jones becoming Two-Face. Why didn't we think of this? Like, fucking police are dicks, I wonder what he did in the. Do you think Two-Face did anything? Did he rob the first bank on the first anniversary?
I think he did something nice on the first, because typical Two-Face, he did something. He actually put money into the bank, and then on the second one, he stole the money.
Good lad, Tommy. That's exactly what he'd do. Can I also make one point? Now, I'm not claiming this joke or attempt at a joke or what we're going to discuss, because there's another Batman-focused pod. I'm not quite sure of the name, because it just comes up on TikTok. Maybe it's come up in your TikTok, Adam. Maybe our algorithms have synced. I know my wife's and I, it's 90% Dash Hound stuff, and then the odd bit of movie stuff for me. But they find it quite weird, and it is true when you see Batman during the day. And I know Nolan tried to do this with The Dark Knight Rises. There's a whole sequence near the end of the film where he wanted to show the Batman in action during the day, and I think that I quite like that. But there is a scene in Batman Forever where it shows the genesis of Two-Face, and they're in the courthouse, and it just cuts to Batman just jumping through the crowds. And this other podcast made the point, was Batman just sitting there watching this, or did he, like, is everyone in there? Is he you know, with the jury? Is he waiting to be called as a witness? Mr. Batman, you know.
I think he was on
weird.
jury service. He was like with the 12, it's like 12 Angry Men, but one of them's Batman.
Yeah. Peter Fonda sitting beside him going, what the fuck's up with this guy?
Batman throws a knife into the table, and he's like, that's the same knife.
Have I got my Fondas wrong? Is it Henry Fonda or Peter Fonda?
Henry, Peter's the son.
There we go, got it right then. Woof, my movie credentials are still there. But yeah, it is weird when you see that. Also, talking about just the way my scatterbrain is working today, and I've mentioned Halloween, there's a sequence near the end of the film where we see Michael Gough at the door, and he's checking for trick-or-treaters. Wayne Manor, the security's not great, because it's like, oh, it's just kids, they're just trick-or-treating. It's like, all right, pretty tall kids, Tommy Lee and Jim Carrey, and he looks at a little peephole, and it's like, twick or tweet, and the door opens, and it's the worst ever stunt double I've ever seen, just getting hit on the back of the head, because clearly they're not going to do that with Michael Gough. It's clearly just some guy in his 20s. It's like a reverse Martin Scorsese for The Irishman, where it's like, we're going to digitally de-age you, De Niro. Try not to walk. Try to think how a 20-year-old walks. No bother. I got it. I should have got you to do that impression. But here it's like just clearly a 20-year-old or 30-year-old guy who's just had his, you know, some dry shampoo put in his hair. It's, when you watch it, because I was watching it now in kind of Super 4K, HDR, whatever the fuck Amazon Prime wants to call it, and it's like, that's not Michael Gough. I've never noticed it before, but those are the two things I took from Batman Forever. Three things if you count the fact that Nicole Kidman's Dr. Chase Meridian is the horniest woman I've ever seen. Just what she, like, she literally, the first scene you see Batman at the very start of the film, he's flying in to deal with this situation at the second bank. Why police? Why Gotham PD? Why didn't you think of this? And she just literally looks at him, and I'm sorry, listeners, the moment she sets eyes on old Brucey Bat, she's soaking. She is. So it's just you look at that film and you look at the look of sheer lust. Every sequence where she looks at him, and even when she finally does get to snog him later on, it's just like it takes the snog from the Tobey Maguire and not Kate Winslet, the snog in the first Spider-Man movie that we talked about, the Spider-Man kiss, makes it look like nothing. Snog's the bake of that boy. Do you know what it reminds me of? The snog Daniel Craig gave Monica Bellucci in, it's not Spectre, it was the one before Spectre.
Quantum of Solace?
No, maybe it would have been Spectre. Yeah, it was Spectre. But Monica Bellucci, what's happening, big girl? But yeah, that was my thing. So I don't know, this has descended into sheer chaos, Adam. I've rambled quite a bit. Listeners are like, shut him up. Adam, take over.
If you watch Pat Hingle in the scene with Chase Meridian, you can actually see his nostrils flaring because he's getting a sniff about Chase's trunks. The thing, here's something for you, since you've seen it in the cinema, because I remember this, and then whenever I watched it on Now TV or whatever it is, the scene is gone. Do you know whenever the Riddler kills the guy at the start, and he pushes him out the window in the chair? Do you remember when he pushes him out the window, he hangs rather than just falls to his death?
No, I just remembered What? Ooh, it's like what's the line he says? Surf's up, big Kahuna.
Maybe
I don't
that's just
remember him hanging.
It might just be my mind confusing it with Tarzan. That happened to Tarzan, right? The guy gets hanging Tarzan.
I think
okay.
so. I think so.
Message
in, listeners.
Message in if you want to see the guy from Batman Forever getting hung by the neck in a children's film. But see, like the first 20 minutes with Jim Carrey's Riddler, it's actually a very interesting depiction of that because it's like a super van, an actual genius. He goes back to his apartment and he's obsessed with stuff, something that would later be used in The Amazing Spider-Man for Electro, which didn't work there, but you have the wee what do you call it? You put a penny in it, the thing from Big, but it's just like the Riddler. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. The thing in the box.
The thing in the box.
What's in the box? What's in the box? Shut up, Brad.
And then you have a Riddler that actually gives riddles, which annoys me in the R-Pat's Batman because, you know, he gives you a riddle that's just Spanish and then it takes R-Pat's a fucking hour and a half to be like...
I had forgot about that.
It takes the Penguin to be like, hey, don't show me that, hey. But, it's a fun movie. You can't go into Batman and Robin and you can't either not Batman and Robin. I won't get too excited. You can't go into Batman Forever as a Batman fan and not like the campness because it is part of the character, and also you're getting to see a team up of characters you never really see. You get to see Robin for the first time and the Flying Graysons and all of that sort of thing. You never really get to see that because a lot of Batman stories are ashamed of telling Robin stories, weirdly. Even though Chris O'Donnell...
Not Chris O'Dowd.
No, Chris O'Dowd as Robin would be fantastic.
Did you know, actually, Marlon Wayans? I think he was going to be in Batman Returns. Then that didn't happen, so he still had a contract. He had an option to come back for Batman and Forever, and they decided to recast the role. I've always been intrigued by that. And what he would have been like, because I would imagine he would have, because Marlon Wayans, we know him from like the Scary Movie stuff now, but he can do serious action. He can do serious acting as well. He can do serious action and serious acting as well. This is what happens when I record early and I haven't had much coffee. Apologies, listeners. But yeah, I would have been intrigued to see what his turn would have been like. And I know in the Batman 89 comic, they give Billy D. Williams the chance to become the Two-Face that he signed on to be. I can't, like, Tommy Lee Jones is going at like 15 out of 10. He's just going for it. And I don't know. I mean, I guess our other comparison would be from The Dark Knight, which is a very different kind of Harvey Dent. You get to see the relationship between, particularly between the three central characters in that, but with Batman, Dent, and Gordon. You kind of see that, and that kind of they amplify the tragic elements of that with the Dark Knight movie. But here it's just he was seen in Batman. I don't think, is Billy D. Williams in Batman Returns?
No.
I can't picture him, listen back to previous pod where we talk about Tim Burton and actors of colour. He's not in there. And then we suddenly have Tommy Lee Jones playing the role, and he is, I don't know, I know Jim Carrey didn't famously, they didn't get on, as we've mentioned, but Tommy Lee Jones is like, just ramp it up to 15. You've hit the nail on the head. He's trying to do the Nicholson Joker thing. And it's like that sense, like he's coming off an Oscar-winning performance. I love him in The Fugitive. I do love Tommy Lee Jones as a performer, but I don't know. I don't know if I love his Two-Face in this. And rewatching it, I was kind of like, of the characters you could take out, you could probably lose Tommy Lee Jones quite easily, and it'd probably be a better film with just him and, pardon me as I burp, as I always seem to burp in this pod. I think you would have had maybe a better, more fun film, possibly, with Jim Carrey, or maybe even having, you know, Two-Face, that heist sequence at the start being the big thing with Two-Face and that ending. Or I guess you have then the whole plot with Dick Grayson that's kind of driving that character. I don't know, what do you think of that? Because I do think of when I rewatched it for the pod, I was like, Jim Carrey's performance I love in this, because particularly as you say, that kind of mad scientist, obsessive fan. I'd say he sent a few letters to people before he became the Riddler. Go looking at that house, it's like he sent a few fucking Dear Karen letters a few times in his life. But I don't know, Tommy Lee Jones, I think you could easily drop him, but then you wouldn't have Drew Barrymore. What's happening?
You also wouldn't have the scene where Batman just pulls out a handful of quarters. He's got everything in that utility belt. He's like, fuck, where's my change? Yeah, I feel like you could drop him, but also, you know, Tom Lee Jones, like Schumacher, is of a certain age, and his reference for Batman is the 60s Batman, so I suppose that's sort of why he's there and what he's going for. He hasn't, like, what else do you go off? Fucking Danny DeVito being a wee freak. Or
if I'm right, like, that was the first time we saw Two-Face on screen. Because the Riddler was in the original series, the Adam West series. Joker, of course, was. We've had Catwoman, etc. But Two-Face was not in not the animated. He was in the animated series, but he wasn't in the Adam West series.
I don't believe so.
If we're wrong, message in.
Yeah, send us a screenshot and then just a big red circle around it, and then Adam and Jim are wrong.
I'm used to that. I get that most times. Anytime I open our emails, like, wrong, dislike. It's like, all right, guys, calm down. We're just two, the fabulous boys, just having some crack and trying to flirt with Nicole Kidman through the powers of podcasting. Nicole, what about you, big girl? Yeah, I don't know. The quarters thing is weird. I think that's a callback to the whole thing with Chase when she first calls him to the bat signal, where it's like he's enshrined, he's ruled by this coin. It's like, well, fuck, you could have done that much earlier on. Every time you've seen him, just fucking throw some coins at him.
Do you ever it's like an old saying, but do you ever get where, like, you take out a handful of change and somebody will always be like, were you out singing?
Do you ever feel the guilt when you have to go to the shop? I remember doing this in my uni days. Once or twice post uni days, we'll have a little piggy bank, and near the end of the month, I think the worst one was I had to get, because we had when we were at uni, there was the three of us, and I had the electric meter, and other boys were away over the summer. I stayed at the house because I worked up in Belfast at W.H. Smith. And near the end of the month, it's like, oh fuck, money's gone. Have to open the wee piggy bank. Need to get like a tenner of electric just to get me through. Just 10 and 20p's just going up to the is it okay if I give you this in change? He's like, yeah, it's okay. And you're literally just going to go like 10, 20, 30, 40. And you got 650 there. Oh, well, give us a wee bounty as well. I'll have a wee bounty. And give us a tenner of electric, please, and a wee bounty bar. That'll do me. Oh, fuck. I used to hate that. The worst was always like at the start, that bad period, whenever you'd like have 10 and 20p's, maybe 50p's, a few pound coins in the piggy bank. But Adam, you were hitting rock bottom when it was down to the 2p's and the 1p's and the 5p's, and you're like, just going to count this out for you, son. All right.
As a man who had worked in a shop for years, that is grand, taking change like that. But if you come in with a 20, being like, can you split this for me? You're like, no. Just to give, because we're just common men, we worked in shops. See, whenever you give somebody change, and you're like, sorry, I don't have any pound coins left, so I give you like 50p's, and they like, tut. You're like, it's still legal tender. You can still use.
When someone does that, I usually go, if I didn't like somebody, this was more when I worked in home base, and I would jump on the tills to help out. And if someone was a real bastard, like if there was a queue and they were complaining, going, oh, like, for fuck's sake, I had to wait like 5-10 minutes here. It's like, the shop's fucking heaving. And I had plenty of change. I had plenty of pound coins. A bit here, mate. So I've only 20p's and 50's here. So I'll give you 20 quid. Only spent like 6 quid. It's like, sorry, mate. All I've got. There you go. and just go off as he jingle jangled his way off. On
Jim,
another
I used
point,
to do the exact same thing.
yeah, good lad, good mind. See, great minds think alike. The other thing I remember, I worked in a bar for a while, Bar 7 R.I.P. in Belfast, and it was one of those bars that kind of like was trying to be hip and happening and cool, and I didn't last there very long, I'll not lie. I think I worked there for about 3 months, and I just didn't enjoy it at all. And the first night, because it was, as I say, it was trying to be this kind of like cool, trendy bar, and it was just old fellas trying to get with younger girls. And there was a guy, he was there with a girl all night, and he would have been maybe in his 40s. She definitely was kind of about my age, in her 20s. And every so often just would come up for a drink and would just give you £100 note. And the drinks were maybe like 20 or 30 quid. By the time we got it, it's like, mate, I served you half an hour ago. I'm pretty certain I give you like 20, a couple of 20s back, but every time came back with just £100. So yeah, I give him, like, sorry mate, I've got nothing here. Just near the end, I was just like, there you go, there's pound coins and stuff back. He was not happy. Fuck him.
What? Was he doing the 100 just to impress?
I think so, yeah. It was maybe like 3. He was coming back. I think he came back to me like at least 3 times. I say 3 times at least. I'll be like, he maybe ordered a bottle of champagne and maybe a beer or something or whatever it was, and choc pops. I remember it was choc pops, and just be like, there you go, 100 quid, mate. And you're like, I give you like 20, 30 quid like 5 minutes, or not 5 minutes, maybe about half an hour ago. Surely you have fucking change. But anyway, wankers.
I'll get us back on. I'll get us.
Do you know what? Do you know what? He thought he was Bruce Wayne, bringing it back to Batman Forever.
Hold on, I got it. You ready? You give him a couple of scores. Speaking of score, Jim, do you like the score for Batman Forever?
It's a weird one, right? The Batman theme, I think, for Batman Forever and Batman Rum is amazing. Like that opening credit. But it's just, there's times where it's very off the Adam West Batman time, particularly that bank sequence at the start, which always makes me think now when Batman's taken on the weird S&M henchmen of Two-Face. It always makes me think of Orgasmo, when they're the weird like electric guns that they're firing, and like the guy gets electrocuted. He's like, oh, it just makes me think of Orgasmo and that little old granny just getting constantly tasered as she tries to cross the road, having the evening of her life. Matt and Trey, if you're listening, I've spoke to your producer about Orgasmo. The film holds a special place in my heart.
100%. I love on the score, I don't even know what instrument it is, but when it just goes anytime something happens.
Yeah, it's a weird score. There's times I think it's fab, because isn't it Danny Elfman in the first two?
No. Yeah, in the first two, yeah.
Yeah, in the first two it's Danny Elfman. Then I forget the name of the composer. It's not I know it's not Elfman who takes
Elliot. I had to look it up because I can't remember his second name. Elliot Goldenfall.
There we go. Who's not a composer I'm overly familiar with, but I love his Batman theme. And of course, don't forget, talking about themes, this was one of the first films I remember going out and getting singles for. Because you have U2, Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me, to give it its full title, over the closing credits. And then there was Seal's Kiss from a Rose, as you give us a lovely rendition at the start of this pod. Neither two songs are in the film, they're just on the closing credits, and it was just a way, I guess, for them to market the film. It worked because I went and bought both singles. Probably the first U2 single I ever bought, and again, probably bought it because it had the movie poster on the front with U2, Hold Me, Thrill Me, I can't say it, get tongue-tied, but I know Schumacher at one point, here's one for Batman fans, did try to get Bono in with his alter ego Mephisto. There's a deep cut if you're a U2 fan. It's the look on Adam's face. I'm not even going to try and explain it to you.
No, I remember Mephisto, unfortunately.
Yeah, he was going to make an appearance. I think that might have been around the time, you know, when that really drawn out joke where Bruce had an iWatch before anybody else, and we have Michael Goff's Alfred going, Master Dick has taken the car. The BMW? No, the other car. The Ferrari? No. The Peugeot? No. The Corsa? No. Oh, that car. And again, that when you look into that, it's kind of like you look at the queer subtext of it. That now, when we're supposedly bigger boys I'm in my 40s, you're in your 30s, and when Dick Grayson steals the car and he goes into that kind of underworld, there is something there about the sense he's this clean-cut young boy in the Batmobile going into this, fighting off or trying to kind of this kind of luminous kind of this gang. I don't think it's a main character, is it? Well, like you've mentioned, it's Coolio, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's meant to be Scarecrow.
Yeah, but it's a very loose rendition of Scarecrow. And then Batman shows up and saves old Dick.
Well,
he definitely saves him. And there's that sequence where they're kind of talking about, they're sharing their stories. The fact that it's like, you don't understand what I'm going through. It's like, of course you do. But hey, as we also know from Chris Nolan's Batman movie, here's a flaw for you. Because Dick Grayson becomes an orphan, he should automatically know who Batman is.
Yeah, and also he's an orphan, but he's also about 25. So why is he getting adopted?
He's 25, but he's only 18, and he's going to live with them. And also, I mean, there's another bit, a little kind of, what's happening with old Bruce? When he's like, I'll show you all my motorbikes. Do you often go to old biker clubs, Bruce? Often? I think there's a throwaway line about that, and it's like, maybe old Bruce is bisexual. Fuck it. I don't give zero fucks if he is or not. But a lot of people look at that, kind of that sense that one of the like Batman Forever is a film that's kind of stuck in a flux. It's still holding a flame to what was before. It's kind of going to the campy stuff that we saw with the West, and just kind of bright and colourful, as Gotham is this kind of like city like Babylon that you can understand why if Ra's al Ghul maybe visited one week, it's like, this city needs to be brought to its knees. You could understand if he had visited that city, that Gotham, he'd bet, yeah, this city needs to fucking be brought down. It's caught because it's trying to do this mix. It's trying to look back at what Burton had done. It's trying to open the world up into campy, fun style. And I love the fact that there's still, I always talk about this, and anyone knows where I've waxed lyrical about the various versions of Batman on screen. What I love about Nolan's films is that they're interested in Bruce Wayne. And I think of the 4 movies, Batman Forever is actually one genuinely interested in Wayne. Probably even as much as what we saw with Nolan's movie, because there's that sense, the death that he witnessed of Dick Grayson's, the Flying Graysons, triggers these memories from what he had from when he was younger, when his parents were killed by Jack Napier. And I like that. I mean, I think it's interesting. It's weird, when I was younger, I was like, oh, this is boring. Can we just get to Tommy Lee Jones chasing him and his car drives up the wall? But now when I'm younger, not Benjamin Button, now that I'm older, I'm like, oh, I kind of want more of that. And which kind of brings me to the point where we've mentioned at the very start, the Schumacher cut. So apparently this film was going to be 2 hours, 40 minutes, or the original cut came in about 2 hours, 40. It was much darker. That's not to say that the campy stuff isn't there, but there's more time given for that stuff where we see Batman, we see Bruce Wayne, I think almost decide to give up being Batman. The events of what he witnesses. Although, can we just, on one point, would no one else hear Kilmer's Bruce Wayne in that sequence in the circus where he's like, one of you must be Batman, one of you must know who Batman is, there's something in the water, just because that guy's there. But when everyone's shouting, kind of going, oh, fucking rhubarb, rubber, and just like, even Nicole Kidman, who's standing right beside him, when Val Kilmer's just going, I'm Batman, I am Batman. It's like, surely some fucker would have heard him. Go on, calm down, Bruce.
Maybe they thought they were like, oh, fucking, someone's taking all the attention of billionaire Bruce Wayne. He wants to fucking show off here.
All right, Spartacus. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. You look at I guess it answers my question for me. I watched this when I think I'm working it out, so 82. So yeah, I'd have been 12. I wouldn't have been 13 at that point, right? So 12-year-old me, maybe earlier I said I was 15, but I think, yeah, 12-year-old me going to see this. All that stuff, it's boring. I don't care about Bruce's fractured psyche and whether he wants to fight a big bad or not and whatever. I just want literally Tommy Lee Jones and him just fighting about the place and Riddler just going, joygasm, all that stuff. That proves Warner Brothers' point that that's going to be box office success. And I think of the 4 films in that original run, this is the biggest box office success, if I'm correct, off the top of my head. I think I'm at least made over 300 million at the box office, which I guess is small fry compared to one of the stuff some of the Marvel stuff does. But were you, at the time when you watched this, were you kind of going, were you being, oh, this is very deep and wonderful, the queer subtext, the underlying themes of repressed memories? Or were you like me, be honest, Adam, going, there's Jim Carrey just kind of prancing about the place and Tommy Lee Jones just gurning his best performance? I don't know. Did you like that stuff?
Because, well, I was 2 when it came out, so I watched it on classic VHS, which, of course, beforehand had advertisements for the toys and the video game, the side-scrolling video game, which I can't remember, what, Sega Genesis, maybe? Or maybe PS1 at that point. No, 95. I don't know. But
95, the Batman Forever game was terrible because it had all those kind of rendered visuals and it was so slow. You like walked, it was like the side scrollers, you say, you walked across the screen like for 2 seconds and then it had a big like loading. You're like, oh, for fuck's sake. Fuck's sake. And I've no way, it was terrible.
I remember the advert for it being quite good, but then also I was 6. But then watching the movie, those sort of bits I did get bored by as a kid because I'm like, why is he breaking down the door? And as I got older, I came to appreciate those bits more. I would like to see the Schneider cut, and I think we
Schumacher cut. Nobody wants to fucking see the Snyder cut.
Snyder cut of Batman Forever, where he just puts Nick Cave songs in every 20 minutes. The Schumacher cut I'd love to see. And I think we possibly will, because there's the latest like batch of action figures that have come out from McFarlane are based on Batman Forever, and you know the way those figures sort of have like a build-a-figure, so it incentivizes you to get every figure. If you collect every figure, you build the big bat from the dream sequence. Which makes me feel like Warner Brothers has went, oh, all right, come on.
Well, I guess we should come to this point, and we haven't played a clip of Batman Forever, and I think what we'll do, because the key thing we should say here, the difference between the Schumacher cut and the Snyder cut, because there will be people who, if they listen regularly, will know when the whole Snyder cut thing came about, I was like, oh, fuck off. And it's not, I am not a massive Zack Snyder fan. I admit that. I don't mind his remake of Dawn of the Dead. I don't mind Man of Steel. I just think with Justice League, he lost it, and Batman versus Superman, and then Justice League. I know he walked away from that project, very personal reasons, very sad personal reasons. I get that, but he walked away from that project. And then all that stuff that came about, I understand that the Joss Whedon Justice League was a mess of a film, but doubling down and saying my version would have been much better, then eventually getting to do it. I don't know how much money Warner Brothers gave him to finish that. I guess it made sense given the time, because around kind of COVID-y kind of time, maybe might have been made sense for them to do that. But my argument at the time was it just rewarded toxic fandom, and I know that's a big sweeping statement because I know there's totally rational people that wanted to see the Snyder cut of the film, but there was a nastiness online that just crept in, and it was around that time really got to see toxic fandom at its worst, like the whole Ghostbusters remake, which was nasty and horrible. And I just felt like by doing that, like the two big things, rebooting the Ghostbusters franchise and bringing the old cast back, it's like there's a moral victory for that toxic fandom. And given this with the Snyder cut, and I remember saying it, and I'm not going off on a rant even though I am, once you do that, you're then going to be people going, well, he should be allowed to come back and do another one. And then originally it was like, no, I'm just finishing off what I'm doing. What the fuck does he do? He leaves it open-ended with, oh, well, if Warner Brothers wanted me back, I'd happily continue on the Snyderverse. Fuck off. It's done. As Ridley Scott would say about the Alien, the beast is done. We've moved on. Get over it, Zach. Go off and make your fucking shit Netflix movies. And the difference with that was the amount of money that was pumped into that. Really for something that wasn't going to go anywhere. I never saw the point. I mean, we've had various versions. We've had the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2. Again, largely filmed, largely in place. Not a lot of money in movie terms needed to be spent. And the Donner cut, I think, is a good comparison to this, I was nearly said the Snyder cut, to the Schumacher cut, because the deleted scenes are all there. They're filmed. It's just a case of scoring, maybe touching up some VFX. I think from what I read from the Kevin Smith screening, it's a work print. So yeah, there's some stuff needs tidied up. Wouldn't be a large amount of money. I think, and I know not to say that we're not in a world of physical media, because physical media is still there. I think had DVD and Blu-rays been a bigger thing, which doesn't make sense really, I think you could release this as a special edition DVD Blu-ray. Although I guess my point's null and void, because doing it through a VOD platform is probably cheaper, not marginally cheaper, I'd probably say, because you still got your market and stuff. You just don't have to take the physical production values for the DVDs and the Blu-rays and the cases, etc. But I think that's just my little thing. I think if maybe this was 10, 15 years ago, I think you would have seen this released as a DVD or Blu-ray extra in the same way that we saw with the Donner cut being re-released with the special editions of the Superman movies. Because that's my point. They're all there. The deleted scenes, they're all there. They've been included on the DVD. You can watch them. I guess on this point, we'll play a little clip of one.
Your parents are avenged. The Wayne Foundation contributes a fortune to anti-crime programs, and the police handle much of the villainy. Why not retire, sir?
The night of my parents' wake, Alfred, I remember running, falling. There was something else. What else was it? Maybe I didn't become Batman to fight crime. Maybe it was to fight that fear.
And instead you became the fear.
If that's true, then Batman is my enemy. Can I give up?
You'll never know until you try.
So that's a clip of one of the deleted scenes. As I say, we have Alfred talking to Val Kilmer's Bruce Wayne about maybe why he give up the mantle, why he give up being the Cape Crusader. I would love to see it, and it's because I have a soft spot for Batman Forever. I have very vivid memories of going to see it in the cinema. As I say, banger, then going to a little McDonald's round by one of the big shopping centres, the flagship shopping centre down there, and just going back to my parents' caravan, just with my little Happy Meal and just being like, I love Batman. I'm Batman. And
I remember when Batman and Robin came out. I was in Canada at the time, and all of the figures all had that terrible logo on the front of it, with the big Batman logo and the Robin logo in front of it.
Did you say to yourself, what's that about, eh? What's that about? That's not the Batman symbol. What's that about?
It was weird. They were all covered in poutine. But luckily...
And Batman was dressed as a lumberjack?
I'm a lumberjack and I don't care.
And his love interest was Celine Dion.
His heart went on for.
Yeah.
The Batman Forever figures were then on sale because they were trying to get rid of them to make space for Batman and Robin. So old Adam bought up his worth in Batman, Robin, Riddler, Two-Face, the guys with the glowy guns.
All the various different Batman. I had loads of the different Batmans from Batman Forever. I think that was probably beyond Ghostbusters and the Turtles. That was the next big thing. I remember just getting loads of toys. Maybe probably Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park was 93, wasn't it? Jurassic Park toys I never was that obsessed with. I just wanted the T-Rex and the little Jeep.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only things I ever wanted. But with Batman Forever, it just worked. I mean, I'm just the product of what the studio execs all wanted. It's like the new Batmobile. The Batmobile in Batman Forever, and I guess Batman and Robin looks pretty cool. As much as I love the first one, I don't know really how it would drive with that big fin, but it looks cool.
Drives up a wall pretty sweet.
Does indeed, mate. No bother. Bruce gets up, no bother.
What about the scene where, just to get flashes in my head, where there's an old lady crossing the road, and then surprise Jim, it's not an old lady, it's Two-Face.
Yeah. Do you know how he revealed himself? Matt and Trey just hit him with the fucking orgasmo gun, and it's actually, whoa, it's Tommy Lee Jones. Yeah. That sequence is weird, because it kind of comes out of nowhere, because you see he's with Chase, and then kind of this bat symbol goes up, and then it just cuts to him in the car. It feels like there should have been something else. Or maybe was it like after the bank job or something like that? It feels like it's just been put in there. It's like the old thing I remember reading a book. A Hollywood producer talks about the Whammo scale, where it's like every 15 minutes you have to have an action sequence. And I guess, you've had like the serious stuff with Bruce and Chase. I think that's the sequence where they're examining the riddles,
mm-hmm.
where he just brought you my riddles. And that weird sequence where like she's grunting and shouting, and it's like, oh, Bruce thinks she's about to be assaulted, and then she comes in, she's just kicking, she's just practicing her self-defense. It's like, I'm Bruce Wayne. Good, you can afford to buy me a new door. How have we got this reference? How have we got this far into this pod, Adam, by not referencing, would you like a sandwich? What is it he says? Would you like a sandwich, or would you like to take away with it? I'll get drive-through.
Yeah. Which had to be used in the fucking McDonald's ads.
Yeah, it was. But I know you touched on this. I really like Val Kilmer's Batman because it's a bit different than Keaton. I love Keaton as Batman because you get that fractured kind of broken psyche you get in bits with Keaton's Batman. You get it with Val Kilmer. You lose it completely with George Clooney. I'm sorry. You just lose it. George Clooney, I quite like him as an actor. I do. And as a director. But he's just there for the pure... He's Hollywood Batman. That's the way. It's just kind of big name, bad arse. Although there's plenty of bad arse in this, and people always talk about his suit being the first with nipples. Kilmer's Batman has nipples on his suit. Joel Schumacher insisted upon it.
Well, if you're going to have a bat suit, why not nipples? People complain about the nipples, but also if he wears the classic grey sort of leotard thing, you're going to get a bit of nip.
Alfred, maybe everyone's always blaming Joel Schumacher. It's fucking Alfred making these suits. Just put the wee nipple on there, Master Bruce. There we go. You like the wee nipples.
I like to think that Alfred in the Batcave is just getting horned up because he's like listening to Bruce and Chase Meridian.
Or just listening to fucking Dick and Bruce just flirting away. Won't you let me be your partner? I want to be more. It's like, all right, Dick, calm down.
I love you, Dick. And fucking Michael Gough sitting going, oh. You ever think that Michael Gough in Batman and Robin is a bit like fucking your man from Sam Raimi's Batman? What do you call him? He was killed by the glider.
Oh, him? He was injured by his own instrument. I listened back to the Raimi pod. I went off rant about that. Yeah, put on Michael Gough. It's just, it's weird in that final scene when just him and when Kilmer and Nicole Kidman are pretty much just a very steamy snog, and it just cuts to Michael Gough, and he's just got a big grin going, "Go on, Master Bruce, go." That's not how he talks at all, but yeah. So it's Forever is campy and fun. I see it now. I just say it as it is. I think Batman and Robin, I still have a soft spot for that film. And a hard spot for Uma Thurman. What about ye? Well, not even talking about Big Bad Boy Bane in Batman and Robin. And we'll never get to see the often lofted, one of the greatest unmade movies of all time, Batman Triumphant, which was going to have a dream sequence that saw Jack Nicholson's Joker coming back, because I think wasn't going to be Scarecrow in that. Oh, if only. But Forever, like, the other thing was when I was watching it, Batman Forever, it's like, we've already mentioned the Apple Watch, all the kind of stuff with kind of the Apple TVs and stuff, because the weird kind of Nygma tech box, because I kind of like that Nygma, it's this kind of, he's a super fan of Bruce Wayne, so he kind of follows his mold. He's kind of got the kind of, when he becomes rich and successful with Nygma tech, he's his own little Bruce Wayne, yet very insecure about himself, and just obsessed with fucking getting people's dream. I'm still kind of confuddled by how he's just getting smarter by people's brainwaves. That's it, essentially.
Yeah, and that makes people dumber because they're watching TV. It's a very smart commentary on television, Jim.
And then he's near the point where it's like, out of nowhere, it's like, if knowledge is power, I would be a god. When he goes quite Zul-esque from Ghostbusters, and it kind of, then that's just ignored completely. They just make a little jokes like, is that a bit over the top? Do we like Jim Carrey in this? It's peak Jim Carrey. When you kind of watch it, it's kind of all the things you get and you saw from the early Jim Carrey roles before he went a bit more serious with Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And that weird Numbers is another one where he kind of tried to do...
Number 23.
Yeah. Is that Schumacher, or am I making that up?
Oh,
no, I don't think it's Schumacher.
I don't think so.
No, I'm wrong, so we'll just ignore that. But it's all the kind of stuff, like The Liar, Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura, Jim Carrey, all that kind of early performances we saw from him. It's all here in one film.
You're correct. It is Joel Schumacher.
There we go. Movie credentials still undefeated. But yeah, I like Jim Carrey in this. I think he apart from the fact all the on-set stuff with Tommy Lee Jones, he seems to be having a ball.
It's really, because I know people, like older people, that don't like Jim Carrey. I think they were like,
don't like Jim Carrey in this, or just don't like Jim Carrey?
Don't like Jim Carrey, and no matter what he's in, they're like, he's just a silly man. Whereas we grew up with Ace Ventura and Batman Forever and loved it.
Alrighty then. Well, do you know what it is? Jim Carrey just basically is our Jerry Lewis. That's it, because that kind of the zany performer, that's who he. When you look at his early kind of stuff, Ace Ventura, that physical comedy, that's what he's modelling himself on. And like, my mum loves Jerry Lewis, and then when you put her down to watch a Jim Carrey film, that's not for me.
He's talking out of his arse.
That's not something I would quite like. That's not my thing. Like, but you fucking love Jerry Lewis, and like the original, like the Nutty Professor and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's all he is. And as you say, both of them are kind of channeling what Nicholson did. Wait till they get a load of me. Don't know why he talks like that. In the first Batman movie, of course they're channeling that. Like the Penguin and Catwoman, there's something very different. I mean, that's the good thing about Burton's film. They're very different from what we saw with Nicholson's performance in the first one. But they're going back to that. Yeah, they're kind of... I always come back to that point. The fact that they're working together never really works for me, and I think it would have been more interesting had it been Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face and the Riddler kind of going off and doing their own thing, and that's why we have to see Batman team up with Robin, rather than it's like, well, our Cape Crusader and Robin have teamed up, so our villains have to team up. It's a small thing for me, I know, but I just think maybe I'm skewed now by the fact that Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones did not have a great relationship on set. And we're talking about this, like Val Kilmer was not apparently great to work with. I know Schumacher was not a massive fan, and that was another reason why he wasn't brought back, although he does give some gravitas. And I'll always, as I say, you can watch those scenes on deleted sequences where he takes on a big giant bat. But I kind of like that idea. And he really, come back to that fractured psyche thing, he sells that in the sense that what he saw, it's all about trauma. I think if we had like the Belfast Psychoanalytical Movie Club looking at this, I'd love to see them looking at Batman Forever. But this sense that trauma that he witnessed, and reliving the trauma through Dick's eyes and bringing in Dick into Wayne Manor, Adam Neeson, you child, that these are triggering events for him and triggering his memories, and that sequence of why he became Batman. It's interesting. I guess that's why I want to see, or I'd love to see, the Schumacher cut. But I kind of have. I think there's rough versions of it online where you can access it. The deleted scenes are all there. It wouldn't take much to re-release it and put it all together.
Well, people do those cuts of, it's all of the prequels, the Star Wars prequels put together. So why not give us a wee... I'm sure there is. If you look online, I'm sure there is somebody that's already done their own cut of the Schumacher cut. It is weird that, Kevin Smith had a version of it, and then just, Kevin Smith, I know you're struggling with it, but you're a millionaire. You could put this together. And he has good grace with DC. I think, I don't know, like you were saying, like 10, 15 years ago, this probably would have, been put on DVD, Blu-ray, but also 10, 15 years ago, the reverence for this movie wasn't there. I think whenever the Nolan movies were coming out, people were like, this is Batman. See all the stuff that came before? Bullshit. This is fucking Batman. And then it took us to go through the Snyder era to be like, actually, you know what? Those movies weren't as bad. They're not. I don't know. It's one of those... The Batman 89 comic is a lot of fun, and I think they have touched on Carrey's Riddler at some point. Maybe an animated movie. There's The Watchmen, not the fucking have Snyder appear like fucking Beetlejuice, but like there is The Watchmen extended cut that has animated sequences in it. But like you say, this is already all filmed. It can be put out. There's no reason for them not to put out. There must just be some sort of legal box they need to tick that they just can't tick.
Yeah, I don't know. I've researched it a little bit. Maybe there is something we've missed. But I think at this point, should we open it? Because we've put some comments out here. We asked for some comments from people. I've got some here on Facebook, if I can just bring it up. Because I know just before we started to record, I did put a little post up in jest where, of course, the famous quote attached to this movie is Jonathan Ross, one of the greatest movies ever made. And I put up, do you agree? Now, Paul Rogers, who messaged us in on the Facebook, said actually that was a quote he made as a bet with a friend. I don't know, because I thought Ross said he stood over that quote, but I don't know, he may have made it as a bet, I don't know. Gary Wilson, to be fair, Ross liked to drink back in the day. All right, Gary, didn't we all? And Wayne Donaldson just messaged in to say that he's not going to be agreeing with your eye, where he just says it's absolute muck. And then we have, let me see here as I read, Ambrisi Boonshade, I think it's Ambrose. Fucking right it does. It's nowhere near as bad as the rep it gets, so he's going to be agreeing with us. And then we've actually got a message from Batman himself. So, Batman Online, as a Bat fan, I'm the 90s. I was super excited. The hype was big. Time wasn't kind to it. It sat in weird limbo of not being as good as Burton, but not being as bad as Batman and Robin, which is kind of what we said. I was all in when I saw it in the cinema. In fact, I saw it twice. I only saw it once at the cinema at Bangor. My mum wasn't taking me to cinema and McDonald's more than once. I even called friends to tell them how amazing it was. You have to question my sanity back then. However, on subsequent viewings on VHS, my concern for the direction was growing, prompting me to write a letter to Warner Brothers. My fears were released with Batman and Robin. Now, I'm confuddled by that point, Adam. One of two things. Have you ever written to a studio?
Only to only to ask why there was never a Debbie Does Dallas 2.
Debbie Does Dallas 2, The Search for Curly's Gold. I've never written to a studio, to my knowledge, other than, would you please, dear Mr. McLean, would you please stop asking? Dr. Chase Meridian will not see you for one-on-one consultations. And BatmanOnline.com continues, at the time, magazines were pitting Forever against Stallone's Dredd. They were firmly in the Forever camp. However, I'd say that Dredd had stood the test of time better, and that's from Paul from Northern Ireland.
Is Dredd the one with the shells?
Dredd's the Stallone one.
Yeah, but like, is the seashells that you use to wipe your arse, or is that Demolition Man?
I don't know. I don't really.
You know what I'm talking about?
No, I've no idea what you're talking about. This podcast has descended to anarchy. This is. I mean, we need Batman to come and save us now.
In either Demolition Man or Judge Dredd. I'm going to say it's Demolition Man, but it might be Judge Dredd. He talks about going to the bathroom and there's seashells, and Rob Schneider is like, "Oh, did you figure out how to use them?" As it like, that's how they fucking wipe their hole in the future. But I can't remember which one it is. It must be Demolition Man.
I think that's Demolition Man, because all my memories of the Dredd movie is pretty much 90% of Stallone just doing this. I knew you'd say that. That's all I remember. I quite like the visuals of Dredd. It's a terrible Judge Dredd movie, and I think, they did an amazing job with the follow-up. But no, let's not digress. I think we'll save the Judge Dredd movie chat for another pod. As we wrap up, maybe in true Riddler style, maybe we should finish up with some riddles.
Okay.
So, what has many rings but no fingers?
My arse.
Well, unfortunately, that's not the answer they give here. It's a phone.
Oh.
I want to kind of do it in a kind of joygasm, Joker. It has keys but no locks. It has space but no room. You can enter but you can't go inside. What is it? Adam's arse.
Is it a computer?
Close.
Oh.
Close. I'll read it again. It has keys but no locks. It has space but no room. You can enter but you can't go inside. What is it?
A TV?
A keyboard. You were closer with the first one. Right. And the last one. I have pointed fangs and I sit and wait. I have piercing force and I crunch with weight. I grab my victims but they do not fight. I join them each with a single quick bite. What am I?
It's not quite breakfast and it's not quite lunch, but you get a good meal. Is it brunch?
It's a stapler.
Oh.
And then, here we go. Here's a nice easy one for you. Who has married many women, but was never married?
Priest.
There we go. Yeah, and one more. Forward, I am heavy. Backward, I am not. What am I?
My arse.
Ton. And then the last one I'll give you, just for this one, just because I guess this would be a nice innuendo fun for you. What can you hold in your right hand, but never in your left hand?
Well,
Adam's arse.
I can only hold one cheek at a time.
It's your left hand. You can never hold your left hand with your right. Well, you can never hold your left hand with your left hand. There we go. That's why. That's why we will never be Riddlers. That's why we are the. There is a Northern Irish Batman. We've interviewed him. I interviewed him many, many years ago at the first Comic-Con I ever went to, and it was quite weird because he just was talking away. Mihal, his name. Just was talking away.
Jim, don't be coming around and say anything.
sorry, but just talking away. He was talking like normal, like us, with the voice, like your voice now. Just so, let's do a rendition. So, you be Mihal for this. All right, Mihal. You enjoying the Comic-Con?
Oh, it's really good. I was just seeing everybody here. It's all really fun.
Yeah, it's good. Love the costume. Put much work into it?
About 2 weeks worth. Got lots of it off essay,
Okay, yeah, I love the costume so much. I'm doing a wee video here for the TV show. Would you mind if I interviewed you for this? So yeah, yeah. I know you're Batman. So yeah, let's do the interview. So yeah, 3, 2, 1, camera, go. All right. So here, yeah, guys, we're here at the Belfast Showmasters Comic-Con. How you finding the event today?
No.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And I was just like, okay. I kind of both loved it and was creeped out by it. And I remember a friend of mine, Anto, who I used to work with at home base, he was a taxi driver for a while, he used to taxi Batman about the place, and he'd get changed in the back of his car. It's like, that would be, again, who needs the Batmobile when you've got Anto's taxis? I guess we're maybe getting off and digressing on this. So yeah, I think we have shown a lot of love for Batman Forever. We've talked quite a bit, talking nonsense. There's been riddles, there's been Batman, there's been Jim Carrey. I definitely do not think Tommy Lee Jones would have sanctioned this buffoonery. But yeah, I think if you've never seen Batman Forever, it's well worth a watch. And I think, had you never seen the Burton movies, if you never watched Batman and Robin, we'll do Batman and Robin another time. We'll do Batman and Robin next year for World Batman Day. I think Forever's fun and there's charm. It's flawed, as a lot of films are, but there's stuff there, even if you just enjoy it for the weird S&M henchmen and horny Nicole Kidman.
And also, you can enjoy the security guard at the start.
Oh, fuck, I forgot about him.
Is it in the safe? He's like, acid.
That's my hearing. Fuck. I would say if I was Batman and that, I would just be, oh, my foot slipped and you just fell into the acid, you annoying bastard. And just a bit where it's like, hold on tight. Do you know what the worst of it is? Pat Hingle, when he comes in, he's like, it's okay, young man. Young man, he's fucking older than us now. He's in his 40s. Young man, you will get you safed out. Oh, how have we got through this pod? And the opening sequence, really, the whole kind of, well, we've mentioned it, kind of the second bank on the second anniversary of the creation of Two-Face. Oh, why were we so asleep at the wheel? And that heist, I suppose we kind of did because the weird Orgasmo Ray. But yeah, that security guard. There's a line funny. I don't have my notes beside me. I was like, I must mention that with Adam because he'll pick that up. But I don't have it, so it's a completely Jim McClane tangent point that makes no sense at all. On the fact that he's just a moany wee bastard, and he drops his glasses in the acid. Acid. And he's just so high pitched. It's a trap. I would have been like Batman going, no shit, mate. No shit. I kind of get that.
Do you think that guy tried to get his... No, someone swapped shifts with him because he was stupid enough to not realise what night it was. He's like, sure, I'll take that shift.
Yeah, one really smart security guard going, I don't want to be working in the second bank. On the second anniversary. Maybe that security guard he swapped shift with works at the first Gotham Bank on the first anniversary. He's like, oh, fuck, I don't really want Tommy Lee Jones coming around with flowers and fucking chocolates. I don't have to explain that to the wife. Here, fucking Numpty McNumpt. Do you want to swap? Yeah, no bother, mate. He's like fucking Beaker at times. But anyway, Adam, it's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed this, kind of talking about Batman Forever in a very rambly way. More so, I think, than previous episodes. But I think we've got into some big subject matter. And I think we've both agreed, like Jonathan Ross, one of the greatest movies ever made.
100%. I can't really think of any movie ever in the history of cinema that's better than this. So...
You know, IMDb's wrong. The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2 don't need to be top of the list. It should be Batman Forever. And well worth a watch. And yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there, Adam. We're going to be back next week with our 99 special. So you've only got a couple of days to final votes, to kind of cast your votes on our Facebook page. It's the silly movies are winning, so I think we know our audience now. Nobody kind of wants to hear us kind of talking about the straight story. They want us to talk about Wild Wild West, Deep Blue Sea, South Park, Bigger, Longer, Uncut. And I was surprised not even a lot of love for Sleepy Hollow. But hey, Tim Burton. Where did it all go wrong? Listen back to the previous pod where I go quite angry about Beetlejuice. So on that point, Adam, I think we shall wrap up this pod. So as always, thank you very much for your time. You're going to go now and fight some crime. And I'm going to go and look on Urban Dictionary to see the definition of what a joygasm is.
Well, it's actually the 21st of September, so I have an Earth, Wind and Fire day planned. Where I just remember what day it is. I go, do you remember? Oh, why?
On that note, thank you very much. Joygasm indeed. Enjoy the rest of your Earth, Wind, Fire day, and we'll be back soon with another podcast. But for now, until then, goodbye.